going to be unique to you and your life and your journey. What came to me today is that a lot of what happens is that we've repressed so many things from childhood, and because of whatever circumstances, it's the time for you, and God or the universe is like, okay, this person needs to wake up now. And all of these crazy events start happening that make your life harder and harder and harder. And you don't even recognize that you have these habits. You may or may not realize that you have these habits and these coping mechanisms that are like for your survival, that, or escapes, or ways that you seek pleasure. And not that pleasure is bad, but addictions, attachments are typically unhealthy for us. So those things weaken us. And so, and we're not dealing with our emotions. We don't have the capacity for that. We don't have that. We're not building those muscles. We don't have that resiliency. Like, I don't want to get sidetracked. Okay. So your life starts getting harder and harder, and it starts to break you down. And that's essentially the point, is that you begin to start to let all these things go. You begin to seek God, and you begin to seek, you get to the point that these habits are not only not serving you, but they're making life harder. All of this self-sabotage it's like it comes to a head, and you're like, I can't get through the day now. And so you start surrendering it, and in whatever ways you seek to the universe, God, your higher self, however you want to see it, to help you and to guide you. And that's kind of, to me, the umbrella point in this, is that you're detaching from the physical and letting all of these things go, letting these habits and these attachments go, so that you can get more in touch with your spiritual nature and build your emotional resiliency. And it is, in a way, and this just came to me, but it is in a way like armor of God, because that's what I'm seeing now, is that it's like we don't even, and I know that this is crazy, but it's like you don't see that it's this battle of light and dark, because you're so caught up in it. You do, in a sense, still see it, because it's like people being mean to each other and stuff like that. Like, it's strange. It is strange to me looking at it now that we like normalize that type of thing. Like, why is that? How do we see that as normal? Like, if we know that love is the highest vibration, then treating each other poorly, we should already see that that's a battle. But nonetheless, you're like wrapped up in the drama, and you might even, you enjoy it to a degree, like it's, you might even like gossiping and all of that. So we normalize it, and that we normalize this devil, all of it. So then once you start to come back to your body, once you start to develop peace within, you become more in touch with your spiritual nature, more in touch with God and the universe. It's so many things change, and you become so much more emotional, and you have to learn to deal with these emotions. But then when you hold yourself through that, that's what builds that emotional resiliency. Sorry, all the sinuses are going crazy again, all this weather. And then you start to detach from the physical, and you start to see that it is this battle of light and dark, because you'll once you start speaking truth, less and less people, you're not seeking validation anymore, and less people will be interested in what you have to say, or it'll be like, it is very interesting how it happens, because it's not like it. I'm sure that people are still interested, but it's hard to face truth. So you'll start to even get backlash, and people who, don't want to see it, don't like it. And you realize that this isn't about the mind, and that the mind was never meant to run the show, but that's just what happened, because it takes over. Again, I'm trying not to get wrapped up, and there's so many different like sub things to talk about, but really we're supposed to come back to the body and allow our intuition to guide us, and for that, the mind to follow that. So you build your emotional resiliency, and then God starts to show you more. You start to see more and more and more. I think there's a quote that says that, like, the spirit world will unveil itself as as you're ready, type of thing. So that's when you start to see that, and that's kind of, I guess, where this whole, I don't really like the idea of chosen, because it's like I don't want anyone to think that I think that I'm superior. It's not that. It's just that this is the path that I've chosen in this life, and it's very, very, very difficult. So it's not like, I think people just want to see the good or whatever and think that it's breezy, and it's not. I mean, it's beautiful in many ways too. So I don't want to give the wrong idea, but then you realize that this is what you're both doing, this for yourself, for your own healing and for the earth, but then also to, like, help heal the shadow. Essentially, I look at it as like that, like it's like the collective shadow that's this darkness that we run from or we normalize, and it actually needs to be healed. And so when you go against that and you speak and you stand in your truth and you stand in your power, you push all of that away and you say, no, that's not allowed here. And I don't know how that works. I don't know, like, the bigger picture of, like, what happens because of that. I don't know, but it is a protection. It is like a shield, and to keep it from coming into you, because you don't realize that you have these, like, attack, like, there's so much. But when we allow negativity in, and when we allow people to take power from us or try to control us, it weakens us. So it's not an easy journey, because there's so much that comes up that you just have to accept. And, like, for me, it's so much inner child healing. If you struggle with narcissistic abuse or manipulation, it's like there's so much of your inner child that needs to be healed. And then, of course, the shadow as well. So how do I, like, bring something of the silver lining to this, to sum it up? There's something just really beautiful about the surrender and the acceptance of things, and to know that, like, even when times outside of you are really crazy and hard, that you have this peace within, and that God is protecting us. Because there's so much right now that's uncertain in my life, and it sucks to have to move through it. Sometimes it's just like, it can be exhaustive and you need to take breaks, but there's this really deep embrace that the non-physical gives us, and that that you're protected and guided by that. And even though you're not getting all this validation, you're healing yourself and the world by doing this work. So it's not easy, but it is really beautiful in a lot of ways. And it's about creating a legacy and helping heal your bloodline, so there's things like that you can remind yourself of, and that if you are in meditation, you feel the embrace of the universe, and it's just, you realize that you don't need, I think that's the bigger thing, is that you don't need everything from the outside anymore. So you don't have that pull from that. It's just that you feel like you're floating in space a lot more. You recognize that you're detached from all of these things. So you're grounded still, and the grounding is important, but you really do feel like an alien sometimes. So just embrace the beauty and the joy and the goodness whenever you can, because it really is truly a blessing.